So in this video, I'd like to talk about something that I've been touching on for a while here. Made a video about it yesterday, and I'm making another one today. The Vanessa Guillon situation. The story that is going around is that she was in fact murdered, bludgeoned to death, in response to her finding out about one of her fellow soldiers dating or sleeping with, or however, a married cadet, if I'm not mistaken. Someone who was married. She found out about somebody who was married, and the person who she found out about wasn't going to allow that information to get out. So he allegedly took a hammer while they were in the weight room, if I'm not mistaken, or the armory room. I don't remember which. And allegedly bludgeoned her to death. Then they had an accomplice of some sort. I think that was the woman he was dating. I'm not certain about that. Hack her up and dispose of the body, bury it, I guess. The story doesn't add up to me at all. That's the moral of the story here. I'm not buying that shit. They have been trying to cover this story up for over 3 weeks in various different ways that we are aware of. As I said in my video yesterday, they cleaned out this woman's barracks before they knew about her whereabouts. Just several weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, there was a huge sting on that same base of some sort, sexually charged charges. Okay, I don't want to mistake what I'm saying, but I think it was a sex trafficking ring that was found to have been taking place on that base. Just 6 weeks ago, they came out with a story about that, all right? Several other bodies. Another body was found next to the body that they found that they believe was Vanessa's. And over 6 individuals have been lost in that same way, basically. Just disappeared from Fort Hood, that nobody really knows their whereabouts. It's like 6, is from what I understand. You do your own research on that. Do not take my word for any of this. But the moral of the story in that regard is a lot of bull stuff has been going on in Fort Hood. And this just happens to be the situation that we are most aware of. Clearly, Fort Hood needs to be shut down. There should be no more Army-based Fort Hood. That thing should be demolished, period. Okay? But the story that they're giving us don't add up. First of all, if I'm going to, let's just say Vanessa catches me in the act. Let's just put it in out there, all right? Let's just say she caught me in the act with a married corporal and said, "I'm gonna blow the whistle on you." I'm gonna, like, the way the story's told, she was told to come in on her off day, if I'm not mistaken. A day that she was not supposed to work, she was asked to come in. The person who asked her to come in was not the person that murdered her, which means that there was more people involved in this story than just the people that were mentioned in the story. That's the first key thing to all of this that stands out to me. The second thing is they bludgeoned her so bad that they weren't able to identify her but through dental records, if that's what I was told. I think that's how that went. So, but they were able to clean up the room that she was allegedly killed in a matter of 35 minutes before people came in. If I beat somebody with a hammer, okay, and it's so bad, I beat them so viciously that they are not able to make out who this person is when they find the body, it's going to take me a little longer than 35 to 45 minutes to clean up the aftermath of that situation, to leave it spick and span and ready for a bunch of trained military soldiers to come in there and continue their process of whatever it is they do in that room normally. It will take a lot longer than 35, 40 minutes to clean up that horrible situation, to do away with the body and all of that in time for that place to look presentable again. And that's what they said. It was about 35, 45 minutes all this allegedly took place. That doesn't add up to me. The viciousness of the way that she was murdered versus what was said about why she was murdered does not add up. That was a passionate fight. That person, if you bludgeon somebody in the head with a hammer and you beat them beyond recognition, it's not because you don't want them to blow the whistle on an affair you had. That's a passionate killing. There are much less messy ways to do what you need to do in that regard. than to sit over somebody and just blatantly bludgeon them to death. Okay, that's a crime of passion. Anybody that studies this stuff knows that that's not something someone's going to do just to cover up a crime. 9 out of 10 times, that's not how that's going to play out. Where does the sexual harassment file come into play into the way the murder the story is going? No one brings up anything in regards to her being the love interest or the sexual focus of the individual who murdered her. So they're basically saying that her claims for sexual harassment have nothing to do with why she was killed. That doesn't add up in any way, in shape, or form in my mind. I'm not buying it. So she got to a point where the way her sister described it, as soon as she got to Fort Hood, she went from being a very, very happy person to a very, very unhappy person, and now she's blowing whistles on people for 2 different things, according to the way the story went. Not only is she blowing whistles on people trying to sexually harass her, but she's also snitching on individuals who are having an affair with one another that she ain't got nothing to do with. Allegedly, that's what they're saying that she was murdered over. Not because she blew the whistle on somebody trying to sexually harass her. Was the person, I don't know this at all, I'm asking the question in this case, was the person that was allegedly supposed to have been the murderer the same person who she blew the whistle on in regards to her sexual harassment case? I don't have the answer to that. I would need somebody to tell me. I would need to figure that one out after I get off of this message here, after this video rather. But it's just too many questions. The stuff doesn't add up. And then conveniently, the person who killed her, who's supposed to have killed her, blew their own head off early this morning. So now they can't question him. He conveniently happens to be an African American in the midst of all this effed up stuff that's going on in the world and all this Black Lives Matter motioning. It becomes mighty convenient how a dead black man suddenly is the one who killed her, and nobody else is to blame but him and this white lady who didn't kill her, but buried the body and did all the nasty stuff to the body to make it disposable. I don't buy any of this at all. None of it sounds reasonably real to me. None of it. All of that sounds like bullshit. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the timeline. I'm looking at how they found the bones several days ago, 2 different bodies. I'm looking at all this stuff I put together from different situations that I've heard about in regards to Fort Hood, and I'm just saying to myself, no, this cover-up is massive. I think the people who murdered her were known by the uppers. I think they had surveillance in that room she was murdered in. That's what I think. I think they realized what happened, and they didn't want they knew about everything else that was going on in Fort Hood, and they didn't want their shit shut down, so they tried to cover it up, and they couldn't keep it covered because, quite frankly, they didn't have a whole lot to work with in regards to covering it up. That's what I think. Wasn't a whole lot to work with. People they were raising awareness outside because of everything that was going on elsewhere. And in her situation, as soon as people got a hold of it, we were paying attention to it. You couldn't cover that one up. You tried. And that story that y'all throwing around, the black dude, the dead black dude that killed her, and the white girl to blame for the disposing of the body, that's bullshit. I'm not buying none of that. None of it. I'm not buying. History tells me in regards to this specific case not to buy nothing that comes from a result of a delayed reporting of information. When I know that you've had this information, when I know you covered up her death, that is right. The writing is on the wall that you knew she was dead and you cleared out her barracks and you tried to silence the situation and you were hoping nobody would know about it. And we found out about it because, quite frankly, that's just what time it is. She's a person of color. Her sister got up and made sure that we understood who she was. Her mother got up and made sure that we knew who she was. We know who she is. We know what you did. We know you tried to cover it up, to cover your own backside. We know this. I'm willing to bet you murdered old boy. Blame it on him. I don't know if he had anything to do with it or not, but I know he's not here to say nothing. He's not here to pay for it. He's just one black dude that we could say did this shit, and now we can point all of our hatred at a black man while everybody's standing up waving Black Lives Matter. Very convenient. It looks like a bunch of bricks in the middle of the road, if you ask me. bricks that we can toss at one another so you can blame us for being savages. You put them there. The way this is working, it's obvious this is a big, deliberate demonstration of some sort or some big cover-up. Obviously, it's obvious. I don't have to be that smart to see the writing on the wall in this one. If the story is indeed true, which I'm hoping it's not, rest in peace to Vanessa Guyon. And my spirit wanted not to ever have to say that. I'm open to being wrong, of course. Open to being wrong, even though my bullshit meters is flaring off. If there's a bullshit alarm, it's going off like crazy in my head. More so than usual. Like, this is bullshit, y'all. Every cell in my body is telling me this is not to be believed. Now, to what extent, what is true, what's not, who knows? I can speculate all day, but I can tell you this, something is off, and it's a lot wrong with it. And I would hope that people don't stop digging. You know, this is a cover-up that needs attention. No different than Breonna Taylor's situation. That's a cover-up that needs attention. Let's not allow our frustration with so many different issues let us push this particular issue or these two particular issues under the rug. Let's not do that this time. Let's not do that. We have allowed so many circumstances and so many people's situations to go unchecked. I mean, the names just ring off in my head. It's so many different circumstances where we just said, you know what, on to the next, on to the next. Let's not do that with Vanessa. Let's not do that with Breonna. These two young ladies both were service individuals. Breonna being an EMT, and of course, Vanessa being a soldier. They deserve to be respected, and they deserve the justice that they have been denied by their very own country. Do you understand what I'm saying? These are two cover-ups of women of color that don't have the opportunity to speak out for themselves because they are no longer able to. Vanessa's case, I'm hoping, beyond hope, in Breonna's case, we have the closure, but not the justice. We need that. We deserve that. They deserve that, above all else. Yeah, this whole story is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. You want me to buy that? That's the thing that insults me and my intelligence. You really think I'm about to buy that after this whole long wait, clearly waiting for y'all? Y'all been lying to the family every day for 2 months, according to the sister and the mama. Y'all been doing everything you can to do things completely backwards to show us that this is bullshit. Basically, to me, it looks like you're demonstrating, hey, we're full of shit. Hey, that's what it looks like over there in Fort Hood. From here, from where I'm sitting, that's what it looks like you're doing. Hey, we're bullshit. Hey, pay attention to us. We're fucking up over here. That's what that feels like to me. It's almost like y'all want us to see that this is a cover-up. Blatant nonsense. He passionately bludgeoned this woman to death and then conveniently found somebody that would do the dirty work for him. How come he was able to bludgeon her to death but couldn't cut up the body himself? Why do you need help with that? And he lived with it for this long. I guess they were closing in on him, right? He had to shoot himself this morning. Not at any other time before this. This morning, this is the morning that he decided to kill himself. It's bullshit. Anyway, that's all I got, man. Frustration. Sick of it. Sick of all of it. Shut Fort Hood down. Period. BDF.